If you want to understand psychology at a deeper level, begin by questioning one assumption. Not every thought that enters your mind deserves your trust, and not every thought that enters your mind originated with you. Human beings are shaped by language, family, culture, education, media, advertising, trauma, repetition, and the environments they inhabit. The mind is constantly absorbing patterns about success, failure, beauty, money, fear, power, and self-worth. Repeated often enough, those ideas can begin to sound like your own inner voice. That is why awareness is one of the greatest forms of freedom. Before accepting any thought as your identity, pause and ask, where did this come from? Is this something I directly observed or something I inherited? Look closely at how society programs the pursuit of money. From childhood, many people are taught that wealth equals value, status equals success, and productivity determines human worth. Every advertisement, every comparison, every social media feed, every celebrity story quietly reinforces the same agreement. You are not enough until you acquire more. Entire industries profit from keeping human beings dissatisfied. Money, which began as a tool, slowly becomes an identity. People sacrifice their health, families, peace of mind, integrity, and purpose chasing an agreement that society collectively created. The pursuit rarely ends because the standard is always moving. A person can possess more than ever before and still feel empty. Now consider the unseen world of ideas. Every slogan plants an association. Every repeated phrase plants an expectation. Every culture teaches stories about success, failure, masculinity, femininity, happiness, and worth. These stories become the invisible architecture of the mind long before we recognize them. The unseen world is not magic. It is the landscape of assumptions, beliefs, memories, fears, habits, and mental models that quietly shape behavior before behavior becomes visible. This is especially important when we think about despair and suicide. Suicidal thoughts are real, serious, and often arise from a complex combination of factors such as depression, trauma, overwhelming stress, isolation, hopelessness, or other mental health conditions. They are not caused by a single idea or message. At the same time, one important psychological lesson remains. Thoughts themselves are learned, interpreted, and influenced by experience. Babies and very young children do not have the cognitive understanding of death as a permanent end that would allow them to intentionally conceptualize suicide in the way older children and adults can. As people develop, they acquire language, concepts, stories, and beliefs about themselves and the world. This illustrates an important principle. Our minds learn frameworks for interpreting reality over time. That does not mean a person who experiences suicidal thoughts has simply picked up an idea. Those thoughts often reflect profound psychological pain that deserves compassion and professional support. The important point is that a thought is not an order. A thought can be questioned. A thought can be challenged. A thought can be discussed. A thought does not have to become an action. History repeatedly demonstrates that human beings are capable of extraordinary compassion and extraordinary violence. The deeper question is not simply what people do, but what ideas, environments, incentives, relationships, and repeated messages shape how they interpret themselves and the choices available to them. Every civilization is first built in thought before it is built in stone. Every war begins as an idea. Every act of kindness begins as an idea. Every invention, every revolution, every work of art, and every tragedy begins in the unseen landscape of the human mind. Self-awareness, then, is the beginning of freedom. The moment you stop automatically obeying every thought and begin examining it, you begin reclaiming authorship over your own mind. You become less controlled by repetition, less driven by inherited assumptions, and more capable of choosing your own path. The greatest psychological liberation is not controlling every thought. It is recognizing that you are not required to believe every thought that passes through your mind. Ashe.